Hey, welcome to my channel, DD.freshstart. I am so glad you're stopping by. It has been a while since I've been on this side of my cell phone where I'm actually talking, sharing what's going on and any updates about my life as a 13G visa holder and a permanent resident in the Philippines. So the last video I had done was about travel tax, so I could leave the country, so I could go back to the United States. And since that video, travel tax has increased from 550 pesos, I think, to 950 pesos if you're traveling internationally. And I just realized between that video about travel tax to this video, a lot of life has occurred. I know I posted that video after I came back from the United States. Had to recover from the United States because that's just a lot to get back into the routine. You know, in the United States we had a car. You go into the grocery store, we eat differently. There's a lot of things that we had done in the United States that were like, oh my gosh, I so miss doing this, I so miss doing that. And then coming back to the Philippines, it's like, okay, we need to reset. We don't have that. We don't even have a car. We don't have a car anymore. So we have to plan a little bit more about how we're going to get around and do stuff and get stuff. And it was almost like restarting all over again because, you know, getting food and all of that, because my husband had been gone for 3 months. I'd been gone for, 3 weeks at least. And because we hung out in Manila for a little bit, so we could kind of have that slow travel back home. So it just was a lot. And then after that, then we started researching about our trip for our anniversary trip, which was in July. We took the to-go ferry there and back. We hung out in Cebu, which absolutely loved Cebu. When we came back, we made it before all of the storms in July. Before Manila was flooded, all of that, before the cyclone hit, the multiple cyclones were hitting the Philippines. I mean, it was an absolute blessing, the amount of safe travel we were able to have to leave Luzon to go to Cebu and come back again, to back home safely. And then getting back to that, it's still the rainy season, so I also know I don't like to do videos when it's raining. Right now it's a rainy day. Actually, makumlimlim right now. Oh, I can see the mountains, so I think it's going to stop raining today. But typically, you can't hear anything when my roof is getting pounded by raindrops, especially in the middle of monsoon, cyclone, depression, all of that. So anyway, since so much time has passed, I started realizing I'm getting ready for another niece's wedding. I'm going to go back to the United States. I never finished up talking about how the heck you leave the Philippines to get back to the United States. So I need to kind of finish all of those videos, all of that discussion, all of those thoughts that I have about leaving the Philippines to go back to the United States, because I'm already planning for my next trip. And it's like, I need some reminders of what did I do to leave the first time. So this video is going to talk about the ECC, the Immigration Clearance Certificate. Now, I had to do this twice. And my husband left in January. I left in March. Actually, I left in April, but I got mine 1 month before I left. For my husband, he got his at least 72 hours before he left in, I think February 1st was his flight, I think. So we got it in January, 72 hours. So if you're going to get an ECC to leave the Philippines, you need to do it at least 72 hours before you leave, or you could get it as far back as 1 month before you leave. And somehow we met both of those requirements both times. Okay, there are 2 types of ECCs. One is type A, which includes, and I'm going to use my notes, temporary visitor visa holder, visa holders with expired or downgraded visas, visa holder leaving for good, Filipinos leaving for the first time, and holders with orders to leave, or seafarers. Now my husband needed the type B because we have visas and we have an ACRI card. And we were leaving the country temporarily. Okay, I don't know if we decided to leave permanently, but that's not what this video is about. We just wanted to be able to go back to the United States and then come back home to the Philippines. And if you ask anybody, we do have a United States address. I've talked about this, but we also have an address here in the Philippines. So there's a reason why I'm saying that in this video, kind of preparing for a future video that I want to talk about. But that most likely won't happen until maybe 2026, when I'm 59 and a half, FYI. Anyway, I've already talked about when you should apply, what to bring. Now, when I researched for the ECC, I had an expat explain all of the things that you needed to bring. Okay, and I did. I brought them all. This video is going to talk about even though we brought them, what was actually needed. So we're going to focus, and I'm going to refer back to what happened in January when my husband was leaving 72 hours, getting his 72 hours before his flight, and then me 1 month. Both trips were at the Batangas City Bureau of Immigration, okay, which is about 30 minutes from where we live. And it's super easy. You just take the bus, since, we don't have a car. We actually do have e-vehicles, but that will be another video because now we have our own transportation. Not a car, but, we had a regular bike. We have e-bikes. We have scooters now, e-scooters, and an e-tuk-tuk. So I have been posting them on my Facebook page, but I'm super excited to talk about those because I've been practicing to be a little more self-sufficient. So you don't necessarily see me walking the 3 kilometers to go grocery shopping and back, or the craziness there. But I do miss that. I'll be honest with you, I kind of miss that. But I got a walking group in the mornings. Okay, I'm totally off topic. I went down another rabbit hole that nobody cares about. Okay, so January 2025, what we brought for my husband for his ECC, flight itinerary, passport. So photos of the passports, we brought them. They didn't use them. They didn't take them, okay? Our ACRI card with the photos of the ACRI card, we brought them. They didn't need them. And our annual report. We just finished the annual report. We did it early in January, so we did that, and I've already done a video about our annual report. We received a receipt, and we brought copies, just in case. Now in March, when I went, what I brought, because I was by myself since my husband was already in the United States, I'd been in the Philippines by myself for 3 months, which is a completely different video that I will talk about. I mean, I missed my husband because he was gone for 3 months, or we were separated for 3 months, but it was super nice. I did a bunch of stuff. I posted a bunch of videos and shorts about what I'd done when I was by myself. Okay, another rabbit hole, I get it. So March 2025, my ECC items that I brought were, I did bring in a completed ECC form that I had gotten from the Bureau of Immigration website. Not needed. I didn't do it for my husband because I figured we'll just get the form. It's just super fast. We'll just get the form. And in January, I just didn't even think about it. I just figured they'll take care of it. Since I did a little more research in preparation for mine, I brought the ECC form. They never took it. My flight itinerary, they just looked at it, but they will want to see it. I brought a paper copy in case they wanted it. My passport, with photos of my passport, like I said, the bio page and the visa page. They didn't take it. They didn't even look at it, but they did look at my passport because they took it. I did get my passport back. My ACRI card with photocopies of my ACRI card, front and back. They didn't look at that, and they didn't take that. And a copy of my annual report. I showed them my digital copy of my annual report because for my husband, I brought copies and they didn't take that. So I was taking a risk and I showed them my digital copy. My digital copy was good. So with all of that said, what would I do differently? I would still bring photocopies of everything. Everything that I just said, I would still bring photocopies. Why? Because I have trust issues. I have trust issues. Because you don't know if the person who was working and helping you that day will be the same person who's helping you and will follow the same expectations that you see on their website. I'm not saying it's loosey-goosey. I'm just saying that they didn't take the actual photocopies. They didn't even look at the actual photocopies. But in preparation for my next visit, you bet I am bringing photocopies of all of it. All of it. And I've talked about before, always making photocopies of anything that's a receipt because of the ink. It's like, I swear they use disappearing ink on their papers. They like fade. Even the receipts of things that we buy, I make sure I scan every single one, especially because we have e-vehicles. All of that, I carry the receipt with me. That's a whole nother conversation. Again, another rabbit hole. Okay, so what happened in January? They retake your so we're at the Bureau of Immigration. Okay, we took the bus from SM Lipa to you take the Batangas bus that goes to the pier. Okay, not to the Grand Terminal. I mean, we've done it before. You can go to the Grand Terminal, but then you're going to have to take like a tuk-tuk or a taxi to get to the Bureau of Immigration. So when I went by myself, I took the bus to the pier, and then I had them stop close to the Bureau of Immigration. So I had to get off, kind of cross the ramp that gets off of the highway, and then go under the highway to get to the Bureau of Immigration. Just FYI, it sounds scarier than it is, but if you use public transportation in the Philippines, you're just used to it. I'm just used to it. And that's so much easier. And then right outside of the Bureau of Immigration, there's a van or a jeepney that you could take, or you could then take a trike to the Grand Terminal and then go back to Lipa that way. Just FYI. If you're going, well, why would you be, if you're in Manila, go to the one in Manila. So anyway, when we went in January, what happened when we were actually at the Bureau of Immigration for my husband? They took his photo again, no glasses. I'm sure it's the same thing. Typically, in the past, for me, no glasses, show your ears, no smiling, any of that. But my husband wasn't given that direction. They just took his picture without glasses. They took his passport. They just looked at the ACRI card, and they took the paperwork and left for a bit. We just waited for the cashier to call us. The cashier called us, gave us back his passport and the receipt that he paid the ECC and all of that paperwork, and we paid, and that was it. When I got home, I made copies of everything, scanned it in case if he had trouble while he was at the airport. So if you go to Terminal 1 and you can't go in there with him. Like, I couldn't go in there with him. He was like on his own. So in case he needed something, I had everything digital. So if I needed to kind of quickly text him a digital copy, I could do that as support for him. No worries. None of that needed to happen. For me, 1 month before my trip, no photo was taken. So I'm thinking I could have looked like crap. They weren't taking any photo, so no photo was taken. But all I did was wait for the cashier, paid, kept my receipt, and made copies. Super, super easy. Okay, so the expense of it, in January and March, same. The cost was the same. I don't know if there's been an increase. I just know about the increase to travel tax. So, checking my notes, 1,400 pesos for the re-entry permit fee. It allows us to re-enter the Philippines without reapplying for our visa. Had to make sure. I'm just going to be honest with you, of course, because I have trust issues. When I actually left, I had my ACRI card, I had my passport, I had my birth certificate, and I actually did bring the visa paperwork just in case if they wanted a copy. I had a copy for them. Just take this copy. We paid for 700 pesos for the immigration clearance certificate. That's the actual cost. 250 pesos, which was a head tax. It's for those older than 16 years old, a poll tax or a capitation on every adult. I'm not familiar with that word, so I'm just reading it the best I can right now. But that's 250 pesos. 30 pesos for legal research fee, 500 pesos express fee. I think they just tack that on for everybody. They'll do an express fee. So it was a total of 2,880 pesos. So I'm assuming if you did this at the Bureau of Immigration, that's how much it's going to cost you at the airport as well. Which makes me wonder, why would you do this at the airport? Especially if you have to at least do this 72 hours prior to your departure. Prior to your departure. Remember that. So maybe, like if you go to, for example, if you went to a hotel that's near the airport and you're going to, instead of going to the Bureau of Immigration, you went to the airport and you did it, and you're just going to be in Manila for a little bit, you could then go to the airport, take care of it. I'm almost sure you can take care of it at the airport also. So that's just something to think about. To be honest, I didn't research a lot about taking care of anything at the airport except getting out of Dodge. But that's about it. Anyway, how long did each process take? In January 2025, it took 15 minutes. There were other customers there because we did it in January and they were getting their annual report done. So we kind of had to wait. Wait, 15 minutes. It was no big deal. And then in March, for me, there was nobody else there. 5 minutes. That's how long it took. Now, maybe if you went to the Manila Bureau of Immigration, it might take a little longer. I was at the Batangas City office, and it was like no big deal. So that's it. That's how I got the exit immigration clearance certificate, or some people call it the exit clearance certificate or the immigration clearance certificate, whatever. It's the ECC. Okay, 2,880 pesos, 5 minutes of your life, except for travel time to get there. Anyway, I hope that's helpful for you. I'm finally kind of caught up. I will check to see if there's anything else I needed to consider as I was preparing for my trip out of the country. But it's super easy. Anyway, if you're planning on a trip out of the Philippines to go back to your home country just for a quick visit, I hope you found this video helpful. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.